Shinigami can tell what a person's name is by just looking at their face. If a Shinigami drops his death note and a human picks it up, he can grant that human the eyes of a Shinigami.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let's React. I'm Kenny and this is Montana.
And today we're going to be reacting to episode 3 of Death Note, Dealings.
Last episode, we were wondering at the beginning how it could possibly ramp up past the first one, but boy, it delivered.
Were we wrong?
With the introduction of L, the detective slash just freelance thinker that is hunting down...
It's going to be my Instagram bio.
Yeah, that is hunting down Light, although he knows him as Kira, and L is only known to Light as L. So the cat and mouse slash mouse and mouse slash cat and cat situation has begun. What are your thoughts entering this episode?
I'm so excited, mostly looking forward to seeing how Light changes his strategy now that he kind of has an idea of like what kind of brain he's dealing with.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below if you're excited for Death Note to be our new series moving forward every Sunday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to see episodes early, these episodes are all posted to Patreon in their extended uncut forms right now, along with the entirety of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and Attack on Titan. Are we excited for this episode?
Can't wait.
All right, let's get it.
Let's go.
Dunderheads, this video was brought to you by the incredible members of the Let's React Patreon. If you want access to a ton of exclusive perks, check out the link in the description below. Have a good day, Twinkle Toes!
What you're doing right now is evil.
This Death Note inmate, sorry, Death Robe inmate,
pretty good actor.
Yeah. It's also funny that they're both doing it from
I'm Batman.
Like, their homes, like they're not out there doing it. They're like back at a computer.
All right,
you know?
let's start with the tip line
Everyone's brave
reports.
behind
Yes,
the
sir.
screen.
Up to this point, we've received 3,029 responses about the murders via telephone and email. Most of these have been curious citizens and prank calls, but there are 14 people who claim to either know Kira or who have seen him. However, nobody could provide any information that wasn't already publicly available. And lastly, this week there were an additional 21 people who called in claiming to be Kira.
Why? Just wanting the credit?
Notoriety.
We didn't want to rule anything.
If somebody takes the credit as Kira and is like, I'm the one who's doing this,
Light's gonna
Light's
lose
gonna
his
be
shit.
He'll probably just kill that person.
We have confirmed that information of the heart attack victims was in fact publicly available in Japan immediately prior to their deaths. Also, concerning L's request that we investigate the time of death for each victim, we found that all of them occurred between the hours of 4 p.m. and 2 a.m. on weekdays,
Oh,
time
school.
with 68% of them occurring between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. Weekends and holidays appear to be the exception to this rule, as the times of death vary much more widely than during the week.
That information
School
is
student.
extremely relevant for us. It suggests that given the times of death,
Oh.
our suspect could very well be a student.
Oh my god. So smart.
Based on the fact that Kira's only killing criminals, I think it's safe to assume that he's driven by a very idealistic notion of justice. It's highly possible he may even aspire to be some sort of godlike figure. We're dealing with an individual who has a very childish concept of right and wrong. Please, continue with your report.
Oh,
Interesting.
right. Does anyone else have something they'd like to add?
Yes, sir.
What is it, Matsuda?
Well, I'm not saying this to support Kira or to condone the murders, but in the last few days throughout the world, but especially here in Japan, we've observed a dramatic decrease in the number of violent crimes committed.
It's working. I mean, you'd be terrified to commit crimes.
I suppose it makes sense. We've suspected something like that would happen. Anything else?
No.
Before I go, I'm afraid I have one additional request to make. I would like you to go back and take a closer look at the exact way in which the victims' identities were made public. Be as thorough as possible.
In particular, I want to know if photos of the victims were made available to the public in Japan.
I'll leave it to you.
You look like you could use one of these. Sleeping much?
Ah, thank you. That'll do the trick.
So wait, from there we learned that he thinks he's a student, antiquated sense of morality.
The times of death and if photos were released.
Oh yeah, because like all he has to go off of is that he killed that person in the room. That's gonna be his one that he's analyzing so much is how did he get in that room?
About what I said earlier at our meeting. Well, now that I think about it, I'm sure everyone already knew that. I wanted to apologize.
What on earth are you talking about? Nobody said it would be easy to speak the truth, but it has to be done, especially when it's something that isn't easy to say.
Huh?
Having said that, if you'd gone on to say that we should commend Kira for doing such a great job of reducing violent crime, then yes, I might have had a little problem with that.
Oh no, no, I wouldn't. That would never happen.
He definitely thinks
just
that.
Kidding.
I knew I could count on you, Light.
Hey, so do you think you're ready to try a few on your own now?
Huh? Yeah, I guess so.
I wonder if they're like, the murders go up and down based on how many quadratic equations there are in the middle school.
Thank you.
He's home really early today.
Hey, why don't you at least try the last problem by yourself?
When there was a test, he
I
didn't do
will,
as many
but
kills.
Yeah, exactly.
Helping your sister with her homework. You sure are relaxed.
Of course. If the police try to come after me, I'm pretty confident I've got something that'll give me the advantage.
Huh.
Hey, glad you could join us for dinner. You hungry, Dad?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's been a long day.
Whoa. His dad is heading the investigation?
So, Light, tell me, how are your studies going?
Breaking Bad.
Everything's okay.
Yeah, no,
Whatever.
exactly.
He's at the top of his class.
Oh my god.
Walter
Brother's a
White
genius.
vibes.
Also the music.
That's my son. We're all proud of you, Light.
Is everything okay, Dad? You look tired.
Yeah, I'm not able to say too much about it, but this case I'm working on now is really tough.
I see. Well, Daddy's a policeman.
Wow.
And that must be the reason why you're so confident.
That's right. It's easy for me to hack into Dad's computer. We're on a home network, so I can copy the files I need without leaving a trace.
Oh my god.
This way I can keep track of their investigation.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. It's a chess match.
Is his password like his name?
Yeah. Oh my god. What was Al waiting on that? You know, like...
Well, isn't that interesting? Looks like the police are already beginning to suspect a student.
I guess that means you're in trouble.
Or L like feeds different information to all of the different higher ups at the police.
If the cause
Yeah.
of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's name, it will happen. If the cause of death is not specified, the person will simply die of a heart attack. After writing the cause of death, details of the death should be written in the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds. That sound right to you, Ryuk?
So what's your point?
In other words, if I write heart attack as the cause of death, then I should be able to write down all the details, including time of death afterwards, shouldn't I?
Right, like you can delay it, like
Looks
an Uber
I'll be
Eats
able to
order.
provide you with more entertainment now.
Oh, he can make it so that it's happening during school hours.
Yeah.
He's so smart. Also, the way he hacked in, like, wow. His dad's the lead detective.
Yeah.
Well, now Elle's gonna know he can hear the police stuff, though. I wonder if he ever intentionally becomes a worse student to not be suspected as the number one. Yeah, it's just happening during school hours.
But he's still going with a heart attack?
Well, that's the thing is,
I just don't understand why you wouldn't say stabbing when I'm in the middle of school.
he wants to be known, but not found.
Yeah, he wants to throw them off, but he still wants them to know that it's him.
Killer's like a
Because-
calling card.
Yeah, because realistically, what he should be doing is assigning each one like a different random death.
Yep.
Like this guy, like drowns in a bathtub or something.
There are ways to get around it, but the thing that's going to be the issue is that he likes looking at the pages, like seeing that he's known.
I
Like,
don't believe this. Another 23 victims yesterday? Are these confirmed?
Yes.
He's killing one off every hour on the hour.
Considering that this new pattern has been going on for 2 weekdays,
It does punch some holes in the theory that our suspect is a student.
Maybe not. Anybody can skip 2 days of school.
You're missing the point.
he's tapped in
It
and heard
does
the
appear
information.
less likely now that Kira is a student, but that's not the message he's sending by doing this. I believe Kira is telling us that not only can he kill from a distance, but he can also determine the time of death.
As soon as we began to suspect that Kira might be a student, the pacing of the killings changed, as if to contradict that theory. Coincidence? No.
His voice.
Convenient. This can only mean that Kira has access to police information. It's obvious now. This is a direct challenge to me.
Wait, look at his room.
It's a direct challenge to me.
It's blank.
I'd say Elle is probably starting to sweat a little by now. If Elle's as good as they say, by now he should be starting to suspect someone with connections to the police.
Oh.
So Kira has found a way to obtain information from the task force headquarters. This is one fact that cannot be ignored. But what does he get out of all this?
It's on the
floor.
floor.
What's he hoping to achieve in the end?
There's one thing I don't get. Showing them you have connections to the police makes it easier for them to find you than when they just suspected you were a student.
Well, my real agenda is to get close to Elle so I can eliminate him.
How are you gonna do that?
Think about it.
Is he gonna try to work with Elle?
Name and face you don't even know? When Elle discovers that I'm somehow getting confidential information, he'll be obligated to start investigating the police to find the source of the leak. When that happens, it'll only be a matter of time before the police start resenting Elle. On the surface, it will appear that Elle and the investigation team are working together to try to catch me. But in reality, Elle will investigate the police, and they will be investigating Elle.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
not the one
pitted
who's
them
going
against
to
each
find
other.
Elle. I can let the police do that for me. And when they do, that's when I'll eliminate him.
'Cause he can just
Interesting.
read. Wow.
So what I thought was maybe he was gonna do is like be like, hey, I'm a student. I can work with you, Elle, and I can help you figure this out. I'm a top student. Like I could be your inside person. Like, but no, he's doing it so that he could pit Elle against the policeman and policeman against Elle.
Right.
Like I was ready to count out Light, but he's pulling some really smart moves.
They're both having a little bit too much fun with this.
It's like a game to them almost.
Yeah.
What's this about?
With all due respect, Chief, we're resigning. We demand that you assign us to a different case. Otherwise, you can have our badges right here and now.
Why? You're good cops.
Isn't it clear? It's because we value our lives, sir.
If what Elle says is true, Kira has some ESP-like power that somehow allows him to kill people indirectly, from anywhere.
Well, if I were Kira, sir, I'd probably want to try and get rid of the people who are trying to catch me.
Let's face it, he knows he'll be sentenced to death if he's caught.
I'm sure you recall Elle's last request. He asked that we take a closer look at how these victims' identities were made public, and specifically to determine whether photos of the victims were available to the public prior to their deaths.
Is the screen moving?
Well, it turns out he was right. Every single one of those victims' names and photos were broadcast to the Japanese public, and then they died. Unlike someone we know, we're out there investigating this case wearing police IDs with our names and photos on them. Anybody with a computer can find out who we are. We don't hide our faces, we're out in the open.
Sir, the truth is we could be killed by Kira at any time.
That's true.
For these reasons, we refuse to continue working this case. Excuse us, Chief.
Dang. I mean, makes sense.
In order to solve this problem, we must establish the concept that x squared equals large x. Now pay attention because
I'm so glad I'm not in school anymore. Holy shit.
Yeah.
this concept to our first
Sus.
We brought the
Among
FBI
Us?
in 4 days ago. They're fully operational. As requested, they're now gathering intel on the police.
I am sure that somewhere in this list of police officers and the people closest to them, we will find our suspect.
This dub actor is pretty great.
Yeah.
You got a second?
Is he really hot, Montana?
Shut up.
Is he really hot?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Yes. He has a very hot voice. Big fan.
Find our suspect.
You're done. All right, the LSIM counter begins.
You got a second?
I already told you, Ryuk. You can't talk to me in public.
In that case, I'll talk, you just listen. If you don't want to hear me, you can plug your ears or something. First of all, I don't have anything against you. I actually think the notebook couldn't have been picked up by a better person. I'm here because I have to stick around till the death note is finished, or I see you die, whichever comes first. But make no mistake, Light, I'm not on your side or Elle's side. I'm not here to support you or give you my opinion, I'm just a spectator. But as your roommate, I might have a few things to say now and then.
What's this about, Ryuk? Why are you telling me all this stuff now anyway? It's really really not like you.
It's just that I'm no ally of yours, or Kira's if you prefer. The only reason I'm gonna tell you this is because personally it's starting to creep me out.
Get to the point already.
You're being followed by another human. He's watching you right now.
Whoa. Oh. He has him? Or that's...
It's really starting to get on my nerves. I realize there's no way he can see me. But because I'm always following behind you wherever you go, I feel like I'm constantly being watched.
That's a problem. I'll have to get rid of him as soon as possible.
Hey, what's your name?
Hey.
Yeah.
Why are you following
me? Does this mean Elle is already starting to suspect the police? If he's gonna investigate the police, he'll need a lot of resources and manpower. Even if he has as many as 50 people on the case, I don't see how they could ever figure out that I'm Kira. I shouldn't look like anything other than your average high school senior.
Yeah. Why is he following him?
The longer I let this person keep following me, the greater the chances they'll figure out who I really am. Above
I've
all,
seen that face.
I need my stalker's name. Once I figure that out, I can get rid of him for good.
Light. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. What makes a Shinigami and a human who has a death note different? Well, there are two things. And why do Shinigami have to write the names of humans in their death notes? You got any ideas?
Of course not. Why would I know that? You know, you sure are talkative today.
It's because we are able to take human lifespans for ourselves.
Huh?
What?
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Let's say you have a human who is due to live until the age of 60, and a god of death wrote that this person would die at 40. 60 minus 40 equals 20. Now those 20 years taken from someone in the human world are added to that god of death's life.
Oh.
So he's got to have thousands.
Slack off, even if someone was to shoot us in the head or stab us in the heart with a knife, a god of death cannot die. On the other hand, no matter how many names you write in your death note, your lifespan will not increase.
Oh.
That is the first difference between gods of death and humans who possess a death note.
Okay.
The second difference between us will probably be of even greater interest to you. Though this has less to do with lengthening life and more to do with cutting it short.
What do you mean cutting it short?
Shinigami can tell what a person's name is by just looking at their face. We know instantly.
Oh.
And do you have any idea why? Because through a Shinigami's eyes, a human's name can be seen above their head. Not only that, we see their lifespan as well.
Oh.
Their name and lifespan?
That's right. I'm able to see your name and lifespan right now. If I converted that to human time, I could tell you how many years you've got left.
Whoa.
But there's no way I'd ever tell you that. I may have a big mouth, but even I wouldn't go that far.
Huh. That was like a little
Shinigami
plot.
never have to worry that they won't be able to kill a person just because they don't know their name. Our eyes just aren't the same, and that is the difference between you and I.
Huh.
However, if a Shinigami drops his death note and a human picks it up, he can grant that human the eyes of a Shinigami. But only if a deal is made, one that's been with us since ancient times.
And what's the deal?
What?
The price for having a Shinigami's eyes is half of that person's remaining lifespan. That's all it is.
Half of my remaining lifespan.
Yeah.
And you'd be able to kill anybody by looking at them.
If you were supposed to
But
live
he
another 50
doesn't
years,
know
it'd be 25.
how many he has left.
It
Yeah.
was one more year than 6 months.
I see. And since you've made it clear you're not on anyone's side, and won't help me out, you
It's
won't
a
just
deal
give
with
me
the
the names
devil.
of people I want to kill. Basically.
Wait.
It won't help me out. You wouldn't just give me the names of people I want to kill.
Yeah.
Basically, you're saying that I can't simply borrow your powers. I'd have to pay for them.
That's right. It's a key part of the code that all Shinigami are bound by. I'll say this once more. Give me half your remaining lifespan, and I'll give you the Shinigami eyes.
And then he can kill anybody by looking at them.
I'll be able to know everyone's name just by looking at them.
Yeah.
If I had that power, the Death Note would only be easier to use.
So, What'll it be, Light? Is it a deal?
What do we think?
I think he's gonna do it.
I think he does it. Who
is that?
Was that
L?
No, that's the sidekick, but is that the person that was talking back at the station? I don't think so. I don't think we know that person. Maybe. I don't know. All right. Oh, and his face was shown. So had he had the eyes and looked at him, you'd be able to kill him immediately.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like the stalker becomes a non-issue if he has the eyes.
7 passengers, excluding him. No one's in the way. Everything should go smoothly.
The shadow?
Yeah.
You in the very back. What do you think you're doing?
Oh, he touched a sheet of the paper. Oh, he touched a sheet of the paper.
Wow. Okay, so that was episode 3 of Death Note. What are your first thoughts?
I'm so excited about this show.
The possibilities of him having the eyes and being able to see people's names, like, God, that eliminates one of the problems of the Death Note.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting having the being who is the gatekeeper of the power system knowledge be just completely neutral, because Light knows that, and so their interactions are very transactionary, which is super, super different, I feel like, for shows kind of like this. You have to pay so I can be entertained, rather than you have to pay because the balance of the world has to stay fair.
Yeah.
There's a difference between saying something has to happen for a higher power versus something has to happen because I want it to.
I was interested by the fact that he's like, I'm neutral, but there's somebody behind you watching you, and this is the way you'd be able to kill them. Like, are you neutral, or are you choosing to offer options at certain times randomly, but they happen to help? We're going to discuss it further, but please make sure to hit like, comment, and subscribe down below if you enjoyed that episode and are excited for more episodes coming every Sunday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can't wait and want to see these episodes right now, they're all posted to Patreon in their extended uncut forms. All right, we have a lot to discuss. Before we do that, where are we headed?
All right, let's review.
Thank you for watching. For now, we're going to go to questions given to us by our amazing Patreon members. If you want to ask us questions after every episode of Death Note that we watch, join the link in the description below and start asking. For now, let's go to question 1. Miss Breadloaf asks, the deal Ryuk proposes at the end of the episode, do you think Light will take it?
I do think Light will take it, especially given the information that he's being followed. He took that to mean he has a stalker. And then in terms of trying to find L, the fact that his name and face are obscured means that I feel like the opportunity to cut that barrier in half is going to be something that's really, really enticing to him.
Yeah.
I also don't super see Light as the kind of person to fully think through all the future consequences of someone, especially as a child, just because brain development wise, the future problems are such a future you issue. So I don't really think he's gonna care that much about losing the last half of his lifespan if it means he's gonna get to do what he really wants to do right now. Especially if he frames it in the context of oh, well, I'm okay, I'm under 20. I probably have 60 years-ish left. I have another 30 years to work on this Death Note and be the god of death. That's worth it to me. The statistical likelihood that you'll be hit by a bus tomorrow is pretty small compared to the statistical likelihood that you'll die of a heart attack in your 70s.
I agree, but I think your statistical likelihood changes when you're a mass murderer.
Interesting.
Okay,
well, I guess then a big question we need to talk about is how does predetermination work in this world? Is it something where when someone is born, they're going to live a certain amount of time? Or do their actions change the amount of time that they have over their head?
I don't know, but that's just one of the questions I have, so we're gonna have to figure out that one. And the other one I have is the idea of Ryuk. He was like, here's the rules of the Death Note. And then as something was about to happen, he's like, here's another rule on the fly, just because it was interesting. So how much is he withholding? He didn't tell him about the eyes till just now when it became relevant. At what point is he going to be like, by the way, if you want to fly like me, you have to look at me and cut off your foot. I feel like that might be a thing where he's like, Ryuk, why didn't you tell me this? And he's like, it wasn't interesting yet.
All right, SDH asks, what do you make of the detectives' decisions to leave the case, especially considering their argument of their identities being open public knowledge as opposed to L's anonymity?
That is honestly, a pretty smart move. Like, I feel like it became clear with that broadcast they can be killed at any time with their name and their face, and that's what Elle's been saying. So, like, I mean, it's a pretty... Why would you put yourself in that position, you know?
Because you signed up to be a police officer.
But especially when Elle isn't doing that. I think that's more the crux of it, is like, why are we working with this guy when he's told us the parameters of death are the things we're revealing while he's not revealing them?
But in police cases, there are experts that they call in who are not known to the public all of the time. It is your job as a police officer, like you sign whatever, like you take an oath, you pledge to protect and serve. You don't get to cherry pick after that.
We'll see if more people start to leave. Let's go to our final question. Final question. Dow Lord Badlands asks, we find out who Light's father is in this episode. How do you think this will impact the story going forward?
I mean, I think it's obviously going to impact the case in terms of Light having access to all of the police documents as well as where they are in terms of the investigation. Secondarily, I'm wondering how Light is going to handle seeing his father have such a difficult time with something that he is the cause of. I mean, we didn't really see a whole lot of impact when they were like at the dinner table and he was like, I can't really say a whole lot, but like, damn, this is hard. But I think if that continues, especially as the person who's in charge of the investigation, like he's the one who's going to be blamed if people start resigning or, you know, refusing to work, that he might potentially take on responsibility for that. It might be just another sacrifice that he thinks has to be made in order for him to cleanse the earth or whatever.
That's about it for episode 3 of Death Note. Are we excited for episode 4?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get it.
Let's go.